the unexplained story that begins where all your imagination ends.
Hey, welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into something a little different. Our source isn't your typical article or research paper. Nope, it's a surreal fantasy novel, a story that mashes together ancient magic, ghosts, and even a little bit of sci-fi. We're gonna unpack the totally bizarre and mysterious journey of a young boy named Amal. And let me tell you, it gets weird and it gets weird fast. Okay, just picture this for a second. You're out on a safari, maybe looking at some wildlife, and then this happens. A silent spacecraft just shows up and takes your Jeep for what the book calls an air ride. This isn't even the climax of the story. It's just, a regular day for the people we're about to meet, right? A Jeep getting snatched by a UFO is a pretty wild place to start. So the big question is, how on earth did we get here? Well, to figure that out, we really need to understand the kid at the absolute center of it all, a young boy named Amal. So Amal is not your average kid, not by a long shot. He lives in this world where the line between what's normal and what's supernatural is just completely gone. He's really the heart of this whole strange tale, just a kid trying to navigate a life that's part ordinary school days and part something else entirely. So what can this magic boy actually do? Well, the source gives us a whole laundry list of abilities. He can chant spells to calm down a giant, angry elephant. He uses owls, as messengers to send notes to his teachers. And he's got this magic eye, which is kind of like a second sight that lets him see visions of hidden treasure, ghosts, and all sorts of guardian spirits. He's basically the key to unlocking every mystery in this story. But what's really fascinating is the contrast here. I mean, on one hand, you've got this incredibly powerful magic kid. But on the other, his life is all about intense discipline. He's doing yogi exercises to develop telepathy and can even float in the water while he's bathing. But he also, practices sports at school and just rides his bike around. It's this mix of the mystical and the totally mundane that makes his world feel so real and so strange at the same time. Now, of course, a boy with these kinds of abilities doesn't just figure it all out by himself. He's got this circle of mentors, these adults who are guiding his training. But what are their true intentions? Well, that's probably one of the biggest questions in the entire story. There are really two key figures shaping it. On one side, you have Mr. Bimmel. He's a teacher, and he brings the structure, the discipline, the meditation, sort of the controlled side of Amal's training. And then you've got Shermer. He's a powerful wizard who yanks Amal into the chaotic, super high-stakes world of treasure hunting rituals. So one seems to be trying to ground him, while the other is just pushing him deeper and deeper into danger. And that really brings us to the most important question, right? Are these men trying to protect Amal and his gifts, or are they just using him for their own selfish reasons? That question is hanging over every single strange trial they put him through. And believe me, those trials lead to some seriously bizarre stuff. This is the point where Amal's journey just goes completely off the rails, mixing classic fantasy things like ghosts with straight-up science fiction. Let's go back to that hunting trip we talked about. It starts out simple enough. Amal's in a Jeep with his teacher and a few drunk hunters. Then, out of nowhere, a silent spacecraft just appears over the lake. It grabs their Jeep and takes them on what the book calls a free air ride. And then, right after it drops them, they're immediately cornered by a furious elephant. So Amal has to use a magic spell to talk to the animal and calm it down to save everybody. It's just one insane event right after another. And it's not just aliens. This world is also teeming with ghosts. This quote here describes one of the ladies who starts following Amal's teachers. They're described as beautiful, super mysterious, and, as Mr. Bimmel notices, they don't blink and they don't cast a shadow. They're basically reincarnated witches haunting the people in Amal's life. And then, just when you're getting comfortable with this creepy ghost story, bam, the aliens are back. This constant whiplash between spectral hauntings and UFO abductions is what makes the whole story so unique and surreal. You never know if the threat is going to be a spirit from the past or a visitor from another planet. Now, weaving through all these weird encounters is one central mission, one driving force, this incredibly dangerous quest for hidden treasure. This is where Charmer's influence really takes over, and where the danger to Amal becomes very, very real. And this is where you realize just how high the stakes are. I mean, these are not your fun little scavenger hunts. At Treasure Hill, a monkey god literally warns Amal that someone's planning to murder him. At Queen Sugala's tomb, the treasure is guarded by the souls of 4 murdered women. And at Ambulu Rock, a ritual reveals that the guardian devils demand a human sacrifice. Every single quest is a life or death situation. And Amal is absolutely critical to this whole process. The rituals have all the bells and whistles, offerings, chanting, but the real key moment is when Amal goes into a trance. Using that magic eye of his, he basically becomes their psychic guide, describing visions of the treasure, warning them about the guardians, and seeing all the deadly traps that are waiting for them. He's their magical compass. As the story goes on, you start to realize that these treasure hunts are all connected to a much bigger, almost cosmic mystery. The final part of the story really pulls back the curtain and reveals the true scale of the forces that are swirling around this young boy. So, during one of these trances, something totally new happens. A powerful, ancient spirit starts speaking through Amal. It gives its name as Elohim, and its arrival signals a huge shift in everything we thought we knew. And this isn't just some local ghost. When they ask the spirit how long ago it came to Earth, the answer that comes through Amal is 160,000 years. That just blows the whole timeline wide open. We're suddenly dealing with something truly ancient. And that cosmic scale gets confirmed by a totally shocking revelation from Charmer himself. He finally admits he isn't even human. He claims he's an ancient alien from a planet called Nabru, and that his mind is just inhabiting the body of a 7,000-year-old prehistoric man he found living in a cave. I mean, wow. All of a sudden, the UFOs start to make a whole lot more sense. But Charmer isn't done dropping bombshells. He looks at Amal, the boy he's been mentoring and leading into all this danger, and he makes one final, incredibly dramatic claim. This is the ultimate mystery. On one hand, Charmer claims to be Amal's real father, an ancient alien who put his son with a human family to keep him safe. But then, on the other hand, the safari driver tells Amal a much, much darker story, that he was adopted, but his real parents were murdered by the exact same treasure hunters that Charmer works with. And so that leaves us with this final, massive, unanswered question. Who, or maybe what, is Amal, really? Is he just a boy with magic powers? Is he the son of an ancient alien, like some kind of cosmic prince hiding on Earth? Or is he something else entirely? A vessel for that ancient spirit Elohim, or the heir to some forgotten kingdom? The story leaves us right there, hanging in the middle of a truly fantastic mystery.
This is just a pause, not the end.